Most important element of the game.
You need to have something to address, like anything you do.
A very, very good idea in golf. All the professionals do it.
It's a great way for us to get into the mental side and understand how we perform our best.
I find when I don't have one, I don't concentrate. I find when I have one, I concentrate a lot more.
If you can get that perfected in your game at an amateur level, it'll probably improve your golf game.
I'd say it could be very important for most sports stars, yeah.
In sport, the question is often asked, how important is the mental side? Sport is 100% mental and 100% physical. The mind and body are linked together. However, the very nature of the variations in sports means its mental, physical challenge can be very different. When it comes to the mental side of sport, golf provides a thorough examination.
Some sports like soccer, tennis, rugby are often considered as open skill sports. What an open skill really is a skill that where we can't predict the outcome so easily. It's often because we've got opponents and they're going to react, and therefore we have to react to what they do, etc. A closed skill sport is a sport like snooker and of course like golf. Although we can't always predict the outcome fully, we've got more control of it because really we're not relying on an opponent to do something different that we have to react to.
Probably the most important element of the game. The technical side is, many people have their opinions on it, but you've seen the best golfers in the world, but the strengths and the key is in the mental game.
If you go out and play golf and your frame of mind isn't right, you're flustered because of work or you're under pressure or whatever, you don't play well. So you really need to be relaxed, and it's supposed to be a relaxing game, a walk through lovely, green fields and so on, and at times it isn't, and the game can get in on top of you. So it does require a certain amount of mental strength.
Golf can be an awfully frustrating game. I play guys who are not playing an awful lot better than me, so I try imitate them or see what they do and try stay focused on the shot and try focus on the shot that you can do instead of try do something you can't. So I think it is very important. It's your headspace. Like everything follows your head. It's all going on between the ears. So if you get that right and you're comfortable with that, everything else will follow.
I do think the mental side of golf is very important because you could be in a good mood and you go out to play and you think, I'm going to play, because you think because you're in a good mood you're going to play well, but you don't necessarily play well, and you go out and you're struggling the first few holes, and the mental game comes into it, I think.
Not letting the game get in on you is the most important thing. That's what I try to do. Whether it works out or not is another question.
In my own experience, when I have been relaxed, I've played my best golf, such as it is. So I do think there's a mental aspect to playing golf.
People often refer to being relaxed on a golf course when they're playing the best. I think the misconception here is that everybody is totally relaxed. Some players play their best when they are slightly more animated, slightly more up, if you like, in terms of what they call their arousal level. So the most important thing from any individual perspective is to find out where you play your best golf, to find out what that level is. It might be that you're so relaxed you could almost fall asleep. Or somebody like Tiger Woods, who's a little bit hyper, who's a little bit more up for the game. You've got to know yourself. One state of mind doesn't necessarily suit everybody.
What I see from golfers, when they're struggling, say someone has a really bad hole, like particularly, professionals. Tiger Woods, he obviously has very good mental strength, and, the likes of Rory, McIlroy and people like that. And I've seen it in golfers that I play with as well. They could have a bad hole, but they have the ability to come back. Whereas me, because I'm not very good, I sometimes let it get on top of me, and I play like, say, I could shoot an 8, and then I could go out and shoot another 8, rather than turn around and shoot a par or a better if possible. But you know what I mean? That's what I would consider the mental side of golf. It's turning nicely.
A golfer will be physically engaged in the actual hitting of the ball for about 2 to 2.5 minutes in an 18-hole round of golf. It takes just less than 2 seconds from the start of the swing to the end. But this 2 minutes in a round of golf is going to be spread over a time of probably more than 4 hours. This means a golfer has a lot of time to think and contemplate what's going on.
One thing we do know about close skill activities is we can use routines to our advantage to understand how we prepare mentally for the skill, or for in golf for the shot. So in rugby, a goal kicker, the person taking the goal kick, sometimes goes through a routine. An example here is the English goal kicker Jonny Wilkinson, where we saw go through quite a pronounced routine to get himself physically right, but particularly to get himself in the correct mental frame. What Jonny Wilkinson is doing is he's going through various processes where he's checking the distance he is from the target by using his eyesight, where he's visualising the shot, where he's mentally preparing himself, he's checking his breathing. And we see in golfers do the same thing. And it's a great way for us to get into the mental side and understand how we perform our best for golf.
I think it's vital to have a pre-shot routine. It sets you in the tone of your swing, it sets you a pace, and it sets a lot of consistency. And without one, you can get into very bad habits. And very much so, as you see all the top golfers in the world, if they don't have a pre-shot routine, they get out of the sync with their golf swing. So you have to go to a pre-shot routine to hit the right shot.
When I actually take time to think about what I'm going to do, stand up over the ball, look at my foot position, my hand position, and where the ball is going to go, it works better. But 9 times out of 10, I just step up and hit the ball, and sure it goes anywhere. So yes, a pre-shot routine is probably a very, very good idea in golf. All the professionals do it.
I think it's important, I guess, obviously it is important, it works for the pros and so on. Once again, I think if there's a level of relaxation about your game, you kind of know that millisecond before you hit the ball whether it's going to be a good shot or not, and there's something in that. So maybe there is a routine that I haven't quite found yet, or I can't articulate, but it's there somewhere.
I don't personally, but I'm only starting off golf, but I've seen in other players, it seems to work. It's more of a relaxing thing, I think, and to get you in a certain frame of mind. And I'd say it could be very important for most sports stars. Yeah.
Yes, I would have my own little routine that I would go through and thoughts or practice swings. You need to have something to address. Like anything you do, if you do the same thing all the time, you will perfect it. You'll tweak it. You'll address it. You know what you're doing right. So instead of rushing up to the ball, getting up to the golf club half an hour early, getting on the tee box early, walking up to the ball. For the club selection, what you want to do, as I say, try to do, whether it's flop shot, hit it, drive it, whatever, or where you want to play your next shot from. So have a routine, and have a routine for whatever you're trying to do.
When you have a pre-shot routine for every shot, you're actually not thinking about the shot, you're just thinking about your pre-shot routine. So if you're kind of winning an event, or let's say a common problem for a lot of golfers, if they're 3 or 4 under par, they get out of their pre-shot routine because they start worrying about, God, I'm going to win this tournament or break the course record. You have a pre-shot routine every time. You don't think about anything else but your pre-shot routine. So just to keep your mind on what you're doing, just it's the hardest thing. If you can keep your pre-shot routine, think about nothing else. That's what all the best golfers do. I find when I don't have one, I don't concentrate. I find when I have one, I concentrate a lot more.
I suppose the pre-shot routine can relax you because you're familiar now. You know where you are, you know where everything is, and so on. And I gather from reading about Jonny Wilkinson, for example, who started this whole pre-shot routine, he is able to cut out mentally and all the audio and everything out of his head and just get himself into a zone. And I gather Tiger Woods does the same sort of thing. He gets over the ball and he's there now and he's in this zone, and sometimes he's got the power and the strength to step back out of it if he doesn't feel right. And so that is all about a mentality, isn't it? It's about a mental strength, and I would have thought that if you can get that perfected in your game at an amateur level, it'll probably improve your golf game.
I think in life, humans generally crave routines. They're very good. Even animals crave routines. It's great because it gives us confidence. It gives us something that becomes a little bit more automatic. It allows us to do something in an unconscious way, like, for example, walking, jumping, running, kicking. Throwing a stone is a really good example of somebody doing something that's been taught to them at an early age, but then they learn how to do it in a very unconscious fashion. We don't think about what we're actually doing. We just let our body react. Here's a drill, Mike, that encourages the unconscious, automatic hitting of golf balls. So routines are a great way for us to understand how we can mentally prepare ourselves in golf in terms for the shot at hand, so we can understand how we process the information of a golf shot in a really unconscious fashion. I think it's a great way for us to be able to put across and be able to understand how the mental process works in a golf shot. We all know that we play our best golf when we're not thinking too much about our technique. And that's the key element to really the mental side, is being relaxed enough to let our trained, our automatic responses work on a golf course. I think any sport requires you to be conscious about certain things to begin with, but once you've learned them, you can let them go. And any successful golfer is a golfer who's been successful in that process. They first of all learn their technique, and then they allow their technique to happen. And that's the key element to really the mental side.